uh, every day I want to find out the whether new material or the new commodities available in our day-to-day life, whether it is for our office or for our home or for personal care or in general for the society. So based on my interest, when this particular webinar was about to be planned, and at that time I thought that if I could share my personal interest with the participants, that will be a good. So based on complete my interest, the my today's session would be there, and there is no detailed technical things are involved. It is completely based on the varieties of the informations available in the areas of advanced materials. So I have tried to keep some of the references in the slides itself, but number of references are many more. So it is provided at the end of the my presentations. So let me share my presentation. Yeah. Madam, it is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh. So before we'll discuss about some of the applications of the advanced materials, I have tried to classify the advanced materials. And when we say material, that means whatever things we can see, all are considered as the materials. And apart from that, there are many invisible materials as well, which we cannot see. Okay, so coming directly to the varieties of the classifications of the advanced materials, if we say the advanced materials in the structural areas, then definitely the first thing would be the steel, and again the in the area of steel, the improved steel are available with respect to the properties. Then light alloys. Nowadays, we are always interested in having the lightweight material with maximum strength and with magnificent properties. So some of them we can consider as the aluminum, titanium, honeycombs, or the foams, which can be used for the varieties of the purpose. Then advanced composite materials. So I think in all these three sessions, at some of the points, the advanced composite materials have already been talked. Then particulate matters. This is a relatively a unique area in which the powders of the varieties of the materials are used for the manufacturing of the different advanced commodities. So say for example, if we have the nano powder or a very fine powder of a given material, and then the microstructures are to be manufactured. Very, very tiny structures are to be manufactured, which cannot be seen by eye easily what exactly the structure is. So that is the another area where you will find the lots of advancement as far as the materials are concerned. Then ultra high temperature materials where the temperature is more than 2000 degree temperature, and for that very temperature resistive materials are required to be developed. And nowadays the materials which are considered under the ultra high temperature materials having the melting point is greater than 3000 degree. Then coming to the functional materials, so electronic materials everyone knows very well. Every day some new things come into the market as far as the electronic gadgets are concerned. Then energy materials also we know very well, and in some of the previous sessions, some of the energy materials would have been discussed. I will also discuss some of the materials in my slides. Then optoelectronic materials. So exactly the optoelectronic materials are the materials which are related to the light sources, detectors, and the control of the light. So they are having their own applications in specifically for the communication and the renewable energy areas. Then smart materials, there is no fixed definition for the smart materials, but yes, normally in engineering, the smart materials are considered under the category of the materials which can sense the environment. They can be changed in with respect to shape and memories, like shape memory alloys, then shape memory plastics, optical fibers, and even MEMS are also considered under the smart materials. Then rare earth elements based material. So there are many elements. There are some elements which are rare on the earth, and all those rare earth elements are widely used into the catalyst. And to conserve the use of all those rare elements, the materials we have to develop in such a way that we should use the minimum amount of these rare earth elements in a given application so that it can be saved for a longer period of time. So in other ways, we have to minimize the wastage of the rare earth elements which are available on the planets. Then emerging materials, very well we know about the nanomaterials. I will also discuss some of the applications of the nanomaterials. Then biomaterials and devices. Then polymeric and soft materials, glassy and amorphous materials. Then last one is the bio-inspired and the pattern functional materials. So basically in this particular category, we try to manufacture the material which mimic the natural materials. So nowadays there are many sources are the limited or which cannot be manufactured like crude oil and many others. So in that case, we try to manufacture all these type of materials by man-made so that it will be having the same properties like the natural materials. Okay. Uh, so my first uh, section is based on the graphene. I hope that everyone knows about the graphene, or you must have heard the word graphene. So basically, graphene is the relatively new material, and it is considered as the magic material. And since 2010, after getting the Nobel Prize by the two professors in the area of physics, this particular material uh, has many applications. Still, it is under the development with respect to the commercial production. The commercial production has also been started, but still we are not able to have the continuous sheets of the graphene. We can have the powder solution as well as the flax of the graphene, but definitely in coming times, maybe in 5 years or 10 years, the huge production of the graphene would be there and we'll be having a revolution as far as the material science and the engineering is concerned. Okay. So what is basically the graphene is? It's the two-dimensional crystalline allotrope of the carbon. Okay. So when we say two-dimensional material, the graphene is the only material which is two-dimensional on the planet, and it is derived from the carbon. So what is the allotrope? Allotrope is nothing but the property of the chemical elements uh, to exist in two or more form. So we know that carbon exists in many forms. So if you look at the what are the different types of the carbon allotropes. The first one is the graphite, which is a two-dimensional material. Then graphite. So graphite is the multi-layer. Then carbon nanotubes, we know very well about it. So it is having the cylindrical structure. Then fullerene, it's a spherical structure. Only it is used into the drugs delivery, biomedical applications, and also in the catalyst manufacturing. So this particular slide is very much important as far as the graphene is concerned. Here we can see that graphene is having high electrical conductivity, which is 100 times more than the copper. Very, very highly electrically conductive material. Equally, if you look at the transparency, more than 97% of the light would pass through the graphene. And this is the highest transparency material as far as the advanced materials are concerned. If you look at the thermal conductivity is also very, very high in terms of watt per minutes per Kelvin. You can see the 5000 is the value, and it's 2 times higher than the diamond. Next is the strength. It's 200 times stronger than the conventional steel. When we say 200 times stronger than the steel, and we can have the graphene as a sheet, just like a paper. Now, if we have the paper-like material and if we expect the strength, which is 200 times than the steel, it is unbelievable, but it is the reality. Flexibility, because of the two-dimensional material, very flexible. It is having also very good elasticity. So the tensile strength and the flexibility failure data are given. Specific area, or in other ways, it's a very light material. We can see that almost 2600 meters square of the surface area available for 1 gram of the graphene. Okay. So if you compare with the human hair, the two-dimensional material is 1 million times smaller than the diameter of the single human hair. Okay, let us see the varieties of the applications of this graphene. It can be used for the energy storage. Okay. So recently, Xiaomi claims that in their phone of 4500 milliampere hour of the battery, in which the lithium ion battery is integrated with the graphene, and it is having 1000 times greater conductivity than the traditional carbon black batteries. So the advantages of the graphene based batteries would be it will be having higher capacity. That means in a smaller volume, the more amount of material can be loaded. And if we talk about the mobile phones, the weight of the mobile phones can be reduced drastically. At the same time, the battery time can be extended for a week or more than a week. Fast charging, we always struggle with the faster charging. There are varieties of the ways available for having the faster charging, but if we have the graphene batteries, the real fast charging will be observed. In a 2 minute or 5 minutes, we can have the faster charging. Lightweight, flexibility, high temperature range. Okay, so these are the advantages if we use the graphene in the batteries. The Choreograph company has tested the lithium-ion batteries for the fast charging electronics. So already the work is going on. Next application of the graphene is related to the optical electronics. We always want the flexible display either in our mobile phone or for the TV, or at many places either in the office or at other places. And nowadays, some of the phones are available in the market with OLED technology, in which slightly flexible displays are made available. But we expect the economical, large-scale OLED, which are based on either polyamide or which are based on the graphene. So we'll show you the small clips of the flexible display, and then we'll discuss more about the applications. Okay, one more.
We've been hearing about the flexible display revolution for years now. So where are they? L'Oreal's impressive flexible color display, with a 0.01 millimeter thickness and less than 1 millimeter rolling diameter that was unveiled way back in 2014, still hasn't appeared in a fully flexible commercial product. As Dr. Leol told us, it's quote, and no one has experienced it on in products of semiconductors, conductors, insulators, and barriers that you have to combine into a very thin film. If you change a single material, you probably have to change other materials as well to make everything compatible. So it's not just one single innovation, and that makes sense. But he also claims that it's not only the materials, it's the corresponding processes, device design, circuit design, and product design. All that is new also. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jace, come on, we've seen flexible displays floating around at the trade show for 2 years now. Why has no one put a product together yet? In one word, it's volume. Volume is key. We've had discussions with different manufacturers before, and they've all been really interested in flexible displays. But if you don't have large volumes, even if the technology is very interesting, they can't take the risk on a new project. This is why Royole has raised over $200 million in capital to start its own production facilities in China for flexible display panels. So when can we expect to see a smartphone with a truly flexible display? I can't say exactly when that will happen, said Dr. Liu, but he did say that we can expect something new from his company this year. For more mature products, perhaps a few years. And it's not all about foldable displays either. Folding and unfolding is just the first step. In the future, you'll be able to roll displays up like a pen and unroll it to have a much larger screen. It's an exciting future to be sure, but one that's always been just out of reach. But Dr. Liu is optimistic. Once we get larger volumes, many opportunities will open up. He's not worried about the market is there. This is why they're scaling up production. So what do you guys think? What are the new uses for foldable displays? You see this affect you and your device? Let me know below.
Okay. So today, whatever. Hello. Why we
I'm trying to mute him.
how will it? Okay. So whatever flexible display available today is having the material of polyamide. Okay. And you know, today we may have the maximum number of flexible display in the mobile phones or in the TV, but because of the invention of the graphene, the research and the development in the polyamide based flexible display has slowed down because there is a competition between the graphene based flexible display and the polyamide based flexible display. Now, if you look at before graphene was considered for the flexible display, the already the Samsung, LG, and many other companies have invested huge in developing the OLEDs or the flexible display, which are based on the polyamide. But because of the possibility of the graphene based flexible display, the work has been slowed down, and it may be possible that in coming time, let's say 5 years or 10 years, we'll be having many flexible displays which are based on the graphene. So this is the reason that we have to wait for some time to get the huge number of devices with the flexible displays. So these are the foldable phones available in the market. You can see that Galaxy Fold is having the cost of MRP is the 1,73,000. It's a huge, but definitely in next 5 years it may be reduced to a 25,000 only. Huawei has already launched the phone like Galaxy 4. The model is known as the Huawei Mate X. The cost is almost 1.4 lakh rupees. Then Beijing Oriental electronics manufacturers are in the manufacturing of the flexible screens, and they are also working on the printable OLED technology. The moment we'll be having the printable OLED technology, again, in addition to the flexible displays, there will be a revolution in OLED technology. Then LG has also put the mobile with the foldable flaps, but it's not the real flexible display phone. The next applications of the graphene we can consider for the thermal applications. So apart from the storage, if we use the graphene as the material inside the LED, then it can provide the light in a brighter way compared to any of the material, or better than the tungsten wire. Then another application is the detachable flexible micro LED devices. Here we can see that these micro LEDs can be folded, twisted. You can also cut them, and it can be attached to a different surfaces. Okay, and all these applications will be useful for the next generation technologies, as well as the on the clothes, as well as the other wearable things. Then Huawei MatePad is the first 5G tablet with graphene as the heat dissipation technology. Now, whenever we use the mobile phones, we have come across that the mobile gets heated, specifically when we play high-end games. Now, to reduce the temperature of the mobile phones, the varieties of the technologies are used, but we can also use the graphene to minimize the heat dissipation. So mainly today's the either micro fans are used or some coolants are used inside the mobile phones, but graphene would be optimistic in minimizing the temperature of the mobile phones. Then graphene based solar panels. So we can see that graphene based solar panels are highly efficient because it can absorb the solar energy very efficiently, and the efficiency is quite high compared to the conventional solar panels available. On 6th September, the advanced denim, which is based on the graphene, is kept into the market. And what will be the properties of this particular denim? So here we can see that this fabric will be having deodorizing properties. Not only that, it will also protect the skin by blocking the ultraviolet rays. This fabric is having a strong cooling properties. It will be useful in the Indian weather, and it can also promote the metabolism by providing the micro circulation. So here we can see that we cannot thought of this type of properties using the conventional fabrics. Then another fascinating application of the graphene could be a stretchable and ultra sensitive NOx sensors. So stretchable is a main part as far as the graphene is concerned. So in any shape, this sensor can be used. Then another application is related to that graphene oxide based sensor can be used for finding out the antibodies against the coronavirus within a minute. So this is the latest development. One unique application is tested in the Manchester, that the graphene based bill can be used for the payment through the mobile phone. So what is to be done? This particular bill is to be kept behind the mobile phone. So automatically the payment gateway would be available on the phone, and the payment can be done. Then membranes. So those who are in the field of chemical engineering and science, they know that membranes are the emerging areas for the separation of the varieties of the species. And it is expected that the graphene would be having more efficient membranes compared to the polymeric and the ceramic membranes what we use today. Even for the catalyst, we can have the graphene oxide based reduced graphene oxide based catalyst, and for that one of the applications considered as the hydrogen production. The next part, it's already 2, but I will take only 5 to 7 minutes. So would also like to mention the some of the nanomaterials and other materials which are quite useful, and all those are having typical properties. Useful minerals as well as the chemicals. Okay. One US company has added the nano clusters inside the coffee that will also enhance the taste as well as the other benefits of the coca effectively. Then we know the lab on a chip of things are going on. So in that particular segment, the nanotechnology would be very much useful. As far as the medical and electronics applications are concerned, the quantum dots are the emerging technology, and for that, nanomaterial would be highly useful. Nano drugs and nano devices for the human body as well as for the other medical applications. So lots of things are going on, and nowadays many devices as well as the many ways are used for supplying the drugs inside the body using the technology. Ultra capacitors, so for computers as well as for the electric vehicles, it will be useful because of the lightweight as well as the high conducting materials. Memory storage. So day to day, we always expect that the size of the RAM as well as the storage devices like flash memory card and others should be reduced. So for that also, this nanomaterial would be useful. In the news, we keep on seeing that the color of the car can be changed multiple times and depending upon the requirement. So it may be automatically, or we may use the uh, switch to change the exterior color of the vehicles. So those cars are available in the market. Then nano solar cell. The beauty of this nano solar cell is that it is having high conversion efficiency compared to the photovoltaic cell, and which is nearly 80% more. So nowadays the plastic solar panels, which are not basically the nano material, but the plastic based solar panels is under the research, and for that we can see that Exxon company has given the $9 million to the Mr. Mark, who has having the patent for the plastic solar panel. So in a big way, the plastic solar panels will be available in coming time. Then similar to the memory alloys, the plastic memory and shape material is also under the way. Then interesting material that is discovered by the scientists, that is the natural hormone, and this hormone uh, can provide the burning of the calories. It can improve the insulin processing or the resistance to the insulin in the diabetic patients, and also boosting the strength of a body. So there will be a what we can say evaluation when this particular type of hormone will be tested in the human, or it will be available to all of us. So there is no need to go for the exercise and all other things. there is a very good concept that artificial tree or synthetic tree is made, which is having capacity of absorbing the carbon dioxide 1000 times the actual tree. And this absorbed CO2 is converted into the liquid and which can be used for the varieties of the purpose, like CO2 as a chemical manufacturing or the chemical process, so that we can minimize the greenhouse gas CO2 into the environment. This is the last slide. Would like to mention over here about the nano fertilizers. Uh, we have been using the urea for more than 100 years, and for 1 hectare of the farm, we need almost 35 kg of the urea fertilizer. For 1 hectare of the farm, we normally use 35 kg of the urea, and recently the nano fertilizers, which is in the form of liquid, has been investigated, and it will be available in the market very soon, within 2 or 3 months. And it will be surprising for you to know that only 300 ml, only 300 ml of this liquid nano fertilizer is required for 1 hectare of the farm. So where the 35 kg of the urea and where the 300 ml of this liquid nano fertilizer. So this type of inventions we expect in coming time as far as the material is concerned. So recently also, to combat the COVID-19, the varieties of the masks are available in the market. So one of our alumni has developed the non-woven fabric in which the silver nanoparticles are coated, so that the complete or 99.99% of the COVID-19 virus can be excluded by that particular mask. Okay. So with this, I end my talk. If you have any question, we can take.
If you have any question, we can take. Participants may ask a question. I think we will go ahead with the session, sir. So we would actually like to thank you twice. First, for the unwavering support we have always received from you as our head of the department. And secondly, today for sharing your expertise with us. Your presence actually has enriched this webinar. Thank you so much for that. And with that, I would like to thank all delegates also for their enthusiastic participation in this webinar and making it success.
Excuse me, Sanjay sir, I want to ask a question.